In western Brazil on a quiet night, an off-duty police officer sat quietly in his parked car, taking a moment to rest after a long day. Until a vehicle suddenly pulled up within seconds, three men jumped out and ran toward his car. The officer reacted quickly. He quickly drew his firearm and fired through his front windshield to stop the approaching threat, catching the attackers completely off guard. One of the robbers was hit, collapsing before reaching the car, while the other two instantly panicked and scrambled back into their vehicle. The suspects sped off into the darkness, abandoning their injured accomplice behind. The officer, though shaken, remained in control and quickly called for backup. In eastern Colombia on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, a man and a woman suddenly burst through the door, both armed, immediately taking control of the room. The staff froze, and the only customer inside slowly raised his hands, appearing to comply as the robbers shouted demands and began grabbing valuables from the displays. But what the robbers didn't realize was that this compliant customer was a former military professional trained to stay calm under pressure. Watching carefully, he waited for the perfect moment. In a split second, he moved, drawing his weapon and firing at the male robber before anyone could react. The sudden turn of events shocked everyone in the store. Panic erupted instantly. The female robber, caught completely off guard, abandoned her injured partner and fled the scene without looking back. The ex-military man didn't stay. He quickly exited as well, leaving behind a chaotic aftermath. Within minutes, authorities were alerted, arriving to piece together what had just unfolded. A normal day at a neighborhood barbershop was suddenly interrupted when an armed robber walked in and demanded money. The barber and his customer froze for a moment. Then, in a split second, both men ran for the door. As they escaped, the barber quickly shut and locked it from the outside, trapping the robber inside the shop. The situation flipped instantly. The robber was stuck, unable to get out, while the barber called for help. Minutes later, authorities arrived to find the suspect still locked inside, ending the attempted robbery in an unexpected way. It looked like a routine day inside a small grocery store until two armed robbers suddenly stormed in, demanding money from the cashier. The tension was immediate. The cashier froze, clearly shaken, as the robbers shouted and moved closer to the counter, expecting quick compliance. But something changed. Despite the fear, the cashier found the courage to act. In a sudden burst of resistance, they fought back using the element of surprise to push one robber away and disrupt the other. The unexpected reaction threw the robbers off balance, turning what they thought would be an easy target into a chaotic struggle. Realizing things were no longer in their control, the robbers quickly backed off and fled the store empty-handed. It was the middle of the night in southeastern Argentina. The street was nearly empty when a robber suddenly confronted a lone man, attempting to rob him at gunpoint. What seemed like a quick ambush turned tense instantly as the man reacted faster than expected. Without hesitation, he pulled out his own weapon and dove behind a nearby white car for cover. The robber scrambled behind a pole, and within seconds, shots were exchanged. The quiet street echoed with the sudden burst of gunfire as both men tried to outmaneuver each other. In the chaos, the man managed to hit the robber. Wasting no time, the man fled the scene, disappearing into the night. A female cashier was working alone in a small accessory store during a quiet night. The calm atmosphere was suddenly disrupted when robbers entered. They approached her, brandishing knives and creating an immediate sense of danger. Frightened, the cashier chose not to resist. The robbers quickly moved behind the counter and began searching for valuables. However, the store had little to offer. Unable to find anything of value, the robbers turned their frustration toward the store itself. They used their knives to smash the glass display cases and disrupt the counter, leaving a mess behind. Moments later, they fled the scene empty-handed. Late one night in eastern Canada, the robbers carried out a bold and well-coordinated theft. One waited in a car park near an ATM kiosk with the engine running, while the other arrived in an excavator, its loud engine breaking the silence. The excavator operator quickly got to work, using the machine's arm to forcefully pull the ATM from its base. Within moments, the machine was dislodged. With careful control, he lifted it and placed it on the roof of the waiting car, despite the risky and unstable setup. After securing the ATM, the operator abandoned the excavator, rushed into the car, and joined his partner. Within seconds, they drove off, leaving behind a damaged scene and the heavy machine. In broad daylight in western Turkey, a group of robbers carried out a bold attack on a jewelry store in a busy street. Without warning, they reversed a car at high speed into the storefront, smashing through the entrance and causing immediate chaos. Several of the robbers quickly got out and rushed inside the store, breaking glass display cases and grabbing jewelry and other valuables. Their actions were fast and coordinated, while a few of them stayed outside as lookouts to monitor the surroundings and ensure no one intervened. Despite the attention the crash drew, they continued the robbery for a short time before running back to their car. Within moments, they drove off at speed, leaving behind a damaged shop and stunned witnesses. What happened turned an ordinary day into a shocking scene, showing how quickly such incidents can unfold even in a crowded public space. On the 26th of December 2021, a man entered a busy restaurant, blending in at first as customers and staff went about their usual routines. Moments later, he approached the cashier and demanded money. The cashier hesitated, unsure of how the situation would unfold. Before the robber could carry out his plan, several restaurant workers quickly stepped in. Acting together, they confronted him and stopped the robbery from progressing. A struggle broke out as they restrained him and prevented him from escaping, drawing the attention of other customers in the restaurant. Within minutes, authorities were alerted and arrived at the scene. The robber was taken into custody while staff and customers looked on, shaken but safe. The incident ended without any serious injuries, and the swift response of the workers ensured the situation was brought under control. Late one night, a man was driving home with his family when suddenly a car sped in front of them and blocked the road. Before he could react, 3 masked men jumped out of the vehicle and opened fire on their car. Gunshots echoed through the dark street as the family panicked inside. But the attackers didn't realize one thing: the car was bulletproof. The bullets struck the windows and doors but couldn't penetrate the vehicle. Thinking quickly, the driver slammed the car into reverse, maneuvered around the attacker's car, and then hit the accelerator. Within seconds, they sped away from the scene, leaving the shocked gunmen behind. A man and his girlfriend had just finished their outing and returned to his car parked along a quiet roadside. As they settled inside, a man on a bicycle approached quickly from the side of the road. The cyclist stopped beside the window, pulled out a gun, and pointed it directly at him. But in a split second, the situation escalated. As the robber leaned closer, the man made a sudden move, and a struggle broke out through the car window. The driver grabbed the robber's arm while the robber tried to maintain control of the gun. Both of them fought fiercely, drawing attention from nearby pedestrians and passers-by. Within moments, several bystanders rushed toward the scene after noticing the struggle. Some shouted for help while others quickly intervened, helping to overpower the robber and disarm him. The situation turned in seconds as the group worked together to restrain him until he could no longer escape. Eventually, the robber was fully subdued and held down until authorities were alerted. The tension slowly faded as order was restored, leaving the couple shaken but safe, and the incident serving as a reminder of how quickly situations can escalate and how community action can make a difference.